Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Trinidad and Tobago has finally registered 2 cases of the Delta variant of COVID-19. This story takes center stage in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 13th August 2021. Details when we return.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the Food Fair from anywhere in the world, and you can receive here in Grenada? The Food Fair and GrenadaMarket.com now make it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket, and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
Welcome back. 2 recently returned nationals from abroad have brought the Delta variant to Trinidad and Tobago. The cases were confirmed by the Health Ministry on Wednesday. The Health Ministry is reminding the population to get vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus and to follow all of the recommended personal health protective measures. TV6's Jewel Brown reports.
The first COVID patient in Trinidad and Tobago confirmed to have the highly transmissible Delta variant is a recently returned national who traveled to Trinidad from the United States, according to an announcement from the Health Ministry on Wednesday. The ministry said the second confirmed COVID-19 Delta variant patient is a recently returned national who traveled to Trinidad from Mexico, transiting through Panama and Guyana. The Health Ministry said as per existing quarantine protocols, the nationals provided negative PCR tests which were taken 72 hours prior to arrival. This information is required to be submitted prior to departure for those traveling to Trinidad and Tobago before approval for entry can be granted under the new travel pass system that took effect on July 17th as Trinidad and Tobago's borders were reopened to scheduled commercial flights. That system is under the management of the Ministry of National Security. Once approved for entry under the travel pass system, vaccinated nationals and vaccinated non-nationals are not required to enter quarantine upon their arrival. Unvaccinated nationals are allowed entry, but at their expense must enter state quarantine and travel to those facilities with state-approved transportation. The Health Ministry said the new protocols state that all returning adults who are not fully vaccinated against COVID-19 should spend 14 days in a state-supervised quarantine facility, and that these entry protocols will continue to be implemented. According to the ministry, the 2 nationals who are the first 2 confirmed cases of the Delta variant were immediately placed into state-supervised quarantine as per the protocol for unvaccinated adults. The ministry said as a result of the positive COVID-19 results from their 7th-day swab, the persons were subsequently transferred and isolated in a state step-down facility. The Health Ministry further said the presence of the Delta variant in the 2 patients was confirmed via gene sequencing in the laboratory of the Faculty of Medical Sciences at the University of the West Indies. Quoting the World Health Organization, the ministry says there have been confirmed cases of the Delta variant of COVID-19 in 142 nations, and that research has suggested that the Delta variant is more easily spread from person to person as compared to previous variants. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, says Delta is currently the predominant strain of the COVID-19 virus in the United States. In an article on the Delta variant, Reuters is reporting that COVID-19 cases have averaged 100,000 for 3 days in a row nationwide in the U.S., a 35% increase over the past week. Reuters is also reporting hospitalizations in the U.S. rose 40% and deaths registered an 18% increase nationwide in the U.S. in the past week. The CDC says the greatest risk of transmission is among vaccinated people who are much more likely to contract and therefore transmit the virus. But the CDC also says that fully vaccinated people with Delta variant breakthrough infections can spread the virus to others. However, the CDC also says that vaccinated people appear to be infectious for a shorter period, and like other COVID variants, the amount of virus produced by the Delta breakthrough infections in fully vaccinated people also goes down faster than infections in unvaccinated people. The Health Ministry said the Delta variant may lead to an increase in cases of COVID-19 in younger age groups and in those who had been previously infected. Jewel Brown, TV6 News.
The Ministry of Health, meantime, in Trinidad and Tobago is also dispelling a number of popular misconceptions and theories about COVID-19 vaccine, as it notes that quite a number of people remain hesitant or skeptical about getting vaccinated against the virus, including a significant percentage of one cohort of the medical fraternity. Renessa Cutting of TV6 News has more.
The Ministry of Health says it continues to depend on communication and accessibility to convince the unvaccinated to go the vaccination route, as a significant portion of the population remains unvaccinated.
The vaccination rate amongst our nursing staff continues to be of concern. In meeting with the CEOs of the RHAs yesterday, we continue to reach out to them literally one by one. They have informed me that their estimation is that about 50% of our nursing pool have been vaccinated. Nurses make up about 6,600 persons, so it means we want to vaccinate as many nurses.
Conversely, at least 90% of doctors have been vaccinated. However, President of the Trinidad and Tobago Registered Nurses Association, Eddie Stewart, has some good news. He tells TV6 a greater number of nurses will take up the vaccine offer in the coming days. Meantime, health officials are seeking to set the record straight in the face of a number of misconceptions and misinformation about COVID vaccines.
The issue of emergency use licensing, because I know this has come up time and time again. And I wanted to remind everyone that the vaccines that have been approved by WHO are not trial vaccines. The manufacturers have to apply to a regulatory agency, and the European Medical Agency is the one that we use most in PAHO, but we also take our lead from the FDA in the US.
Health officials have also taken note of some wild claims circulating in the public domain.
Microchips have never ever been used in vaccines and are not part of COVID-19 vaccines. I just explained how vaccines are manufactured and regulated. And vaccines cannot change your DNA. And in fact, that some persons who have received these vaccines as part of the trials have actually become pregnant. So clearly, they do not interfere with fertility.
The ministry is reminding the public that being fully vaccinated protects you from severe illness and death if infected with COVID-19. Renessa Cutting, TV6 News.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
A St. Lucian consultant pathologist, Dr. Stephen King, has sought to issue a dire warning to all St. Lucians, especially the unvaccinated, over the likely introduction of the Delta variant to St. Lucia. Experts explain that those who have not yet received the jab are at great risk for severe illness and death due to the menacing Delta variant of the COVID-19 virus. Stanley Lucian of HTS News Force reports.
With the presence of the Delta variant of COVID-19 all but confirmed in St. Lucia, medical practitioners are sounding the alarm, particularly to the unvaccinated. Former Chief Medical Officer and Consultant Pathologist Dr. Stephen King warns that those who have not been inoculated against the virus are at serious risk.
It's the unvaccinated who are at great risk here. The unvaccinated are the ones that are going to bear the brunt of the disease and the death and the hospitalizations, right? Yes, occasionally you will get a vaccinated person that it'll happen to as well, I might tell you. There are vaccinated people who can get sick with this virus as well, right? But that is the minority. And that is why I'm saying, although the vaccine is not 100%, but it's definitely thousands of times safer than COVID.
So, what are the options that should be under consideration as the government seeks to get the recent upsurge in cases under control?
The other thing, of course, is universal mask wearing, and of course, vaccination, right? Also along the same lines, and this is where the debate comes in, which non-essential businesses should we close to stop people from gathering? The other issue is, should we allow people who are vaccinated to gather? Because if you are vaccinated people together are not a risk to one another.
The former chief medical officer says the government has to level up with the people, given what's at stake is a matter of life and death.
It's not a simple conversation to have, as you'd well appreciate, but from the medical point of view, the science is clear as to what works and what doesn't.
There's a raging debate in many Caribbean nations and around the world about the discrimination against the unvaccinated. This has erupted in violent mass protests in some neighboring nations as the governments seek to strike the balance between protecting the population and preserving people's fundamental rights. There's also the issue of the practicality of some of the measures.
There's technology that's available. I mean, QR codes that could be linked to electronic databases that could immediately tell you if somebody is really vaccinated or not. Other than that, you have to depend on paper and of course, the trust. And we've heard stories already of people trying to counterfeit and create fraud with the vaccine passports, which is so ridiculous when you think about it. You know, as people, we must be sensible and understand that genuine safety is what we're looking at here. So to try and cheat and hide and defraud is ridiculous. But anyway, so what are the options? One, we have a responsible honor code. Two, that we have we use technology to assure that when people say they're vaccinated, we can verify that in real time.
The recent spike in COVID-19 cases has presented Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre and his new administration with an early challenge, one with life and death consequences. Stanley Lucien for the HTS News Force.
GBN's Anika Alexander reports on the expressed defiance of Grenada's mostly youthful population to revel in the streets and play jab-jab in spite of there being no official carnival for the second year running due to the coronavirus, with former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas chiming in.
The state said no carnival, but segments of the populace said mass must play. Well, it is apparent that the jabs rule the nation as they put on massive shows over several weekends, all culminating on the revoked Carnival Monday and Tuesday holidays. No holidays, but large crowds were in the streets in most parishes. What was more, the jabs chanted vile lyrics, mostly spewing venom toward persons in authoritative positions. Their actions have sparked concern in several quarters, with persons expressing concern about the utter disrespect meted out to those in authority. The displays have been cited as a reflection of a breakdown in law and order. Former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas is among those who have voiced concern about what was displayed in recent times.
It's not a good precedent. We should be a law-abiding society, and we should respect those in authority. But when those in authority themselves disregard law and order, that creates a complication. Because we must never forget, and I repeated it on several occasions, once you disregard the judgment of the court, you're showing a disregard for law and order.
Former Prime Minister says the recent developments are regrettable and there is need for introspection from the top of the leadership ladder.
The present administration has shown that they do not respect the court, the judgment of the court. Law is law. Whether it is the court or whether the parliament passes the law, we must observe and uphold the law. So the present administration has a lot to answer for the lawlessness that is taking place in the country today. And it is frightening. It's a dangerous precedent. I mean, you have people in authority laying out certain rules and regulations, and the mass of people, especially young people, coming out in defiance against the authority. That's not a healthy situation. We have to really get in control of our society and to lead by example.
Training reporter Anika Alexander.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.